they're right. Because you have to understand the whole story. Sometimes you got to learn how to protect your man.
Right.
And we're good at protecting him. During that time, those times, they were looking for the followers of the way, as they called them. They were looking for him, and Jesus knew they were in trouble. And if they caught him, they was going to kill him. Yeah. So how many of y'all would have come out if they know they was going to kill him? Yeah. They killing you anyway. Yeah. They killing African American men anyway. Yeah. It's a shame that your boys can't wear a hoodie and go in some neighborhoods unless the police stop them. And here's what I tell them. Tell them to stay out those neighborhoods because you got to learn how to protect yourself. It ought not to be that way, but the fact is that's the way it is. And so we understand how come the women, we can move now more freely than they can. Right. It had nothing to do with them being, they were afraid, but they were not cowards. Right. It has to do with the signs of the time. But people would like to write us out and dictate what we ought to do and what we can and cannot do. But this is in the book. The women delivered the first. And they've asked me a whole lot of questions sometimes. Paulette, are you a preacher? And are you a doctor? And people attach stuff to you too. Yeah. And I was somewhere about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they just attached Dr. Moore. My name is just Paulette Moore. It's really just Mrs. Paulette Moore. And I have a few degrees, but it's still Paulette Moore. And if I were a doctor who had done everything I'm supposed to do, that's fine. But it's still Paulette Moore. And if I chose to preach and I thought that God had called me to preach, see, preaching to me is special. If you read the Bible, it's special. And it's in the book. And you make sure whatever you're doing, that you've been called to do it if it's in the church. And I don't get all off of where to stand. They even ask me sometimes, where you want to stand? I'm at your church. Where you want me to stand? I can stand anywhere you tell me to stand. I'm at your church. Where you want me to sit? I can sit anywhere you tell me to sit because I'm at your church. And if I was a preacher, I don't need no church. Jesus never had a church, nor to me. When some burn you in your heart and you know it, people can't stop you unless you allow them to. I'm just a teacher and an inspirational speaker. And I know my story because you don't know it. It's in the book. The woman was in it. Verse 8 said they departed quickly. They didn't waste no time from the sepulchre with fear and great joy. And did run. Women prepared for service got to run sometimes and tell it. He says, bring on disciples and be reminded that everything God does was in his master plan. And it can be fulfilled with you or without you. Don't get so important that you walk off of the church because somebody made you mad. Ain't nothing going to stop because you walk off. The woman was in it. We're blessed and highly favored because we're the only thing in the creation that he did not make out of dust. It's in the book. It's in the book. It's in the book. And you can read it in the book. That's how special we are. So don't live like no dusty woman. Don't live beneath your privileges. And how you know it's in the book? Let me tell you, Esther is in the book. And then Esther fixed it up. She got a little sidetracked. She got to eat all the good stuff in the king's house and wearing them fine clothes and putting on the diamonds and the fur coats and everything. She forgot what she went there for. So Mordecai had to send her a message and remind her that you're a Jew too. And if they kill us, they're going to kill you too. And then they all pray. She says, fast and pray, doesn't she? And she comes to a sense. saves her people, does she? And then Deborah, who was a warrior, she tells Barak, they have a conversation. And she tells him, look, I'm going to war, but you're not going to be prepared for it. But she wasn't asking me. She just looked, I'm going for it. But you're not going to get prepared. You can understand when you talk to him, right? It's in the book. The woman was there. Then there's Ruth, who picks up with Naomi's spirit. Naomi lived so well in front of Ruth that when all of them died, she said, I want your God to be my God. Women who are prepared for service ought to be able to look at some of us. They ought to want to know who our God is. They ought to want to know who we are serving. And then there's Abigail, who saved the whole house. Because the Bible says her husband was a fool. They get drunk. And David just wanted something to eat. And one of the servants came to the girl and told her, your husband cutting up over there, he finna get all us killed. The girl dresses up, goes get her nails done, gets her hair done, gets her little junkie, and then puts it all in that thing, and she goes out to meet David. And she doesn't go out hollering and cussing and carrying on. She meets him very quietly, and she already tried anyway. And then the man got in and says, don't stop for her, put the woman, I don't care what you say. Don't stop for a good-looking man, she don't look at it. God made us that way. But the girl approaches and her approach. Sometimes that's how we approach people. That depends on what we get. She knew how to approach David. He was hungry. She fed him first. And then she told him what she wanted. And then there's Hannah, praying woman. If you're going to be prepared for service, you got to pray. And you got to pray all of the time. And you got to pray for everybody. You just can't pray for some folks, you got to pray for everybody. I'm just talking about, if this is a house of prayer, then everybody ought to at least have one prayer. Then there's a woman who committed adultery. It's called the roll prayer, so you know it's in the book. It's in the book, and the woman was in it. There's a woman who committed adultery. I always want to know how come the man wasn't there. It takes two to take one. And Jesus and the girl was down there and everything, and look who comes and saves her, Jesus. If we wasn't supposed to be saved, he'd have never showed up. He said, well, whoever is something, you got to throw the first rock. Everybody left. And then he tells her, get up, baby. Just don't sin no more. Just don't keep on doing what you're doing. Straighten up. And she leaves. It's in the book. It's in the book, the woman. And then aren't you glad that he put all kinds of women in the book? And that's just so that every woman knows that they have access to Jesus Christ no matter what the circumstances. And the woman at the well, we all know that story, don't we? The woman at the well meets him sitting on the well and does that thing with the water. He said, honey, you just knew who I was. If you just knew. And then he makes her know. Because he tells her everything about herself. And then the girl, you see, when you meet Jesus, you'll leave a different way with him. This girl left a different way. And she went running back to town to tell everybody, you can have me come see a man. All I'm saying is it's just in the book. And then the last sister with the blood issue. The last sister says, if I can just get to him, I don't need to hold no conversation with him. And then that'll bring in the caring pastor and the sharing of your thing. It'll bring in love. She said, I don't need to talk to him. I just need to T-O-U-C-H. I just need to touch. And I really don't need to touch the H-I-M. If I can just get close enough, grab onto the H-E-M. And the book said, when the girl grabbed on to that part, she felt it going through. She'd already spent all the money. And this was her last chance to get healed. And it's just in the book. The woman was in it. And I stopped by this morning to encourage your hearts. Women have always experienced challenges. If you step out of that traditional role, where the young girls at, you're going to have problems. So, oh, women, we're going in there. Yeah, but the young girls, if you step out that traditional role, you are going to have problems. But it's all right to have problems if you will allow God to help you solve them. I'll let you know, because I stepped out of a traditional role. Yes, I was a teacher. But not only that was I a teacher, I was a basketball coach. And I coached girl and boy. And not only that, I was an athletic director for a high school grades 7 through 12. So you can fill in the blanks of what I caught day by day. And I was the wrong color. I stayed in the dietary room. That was double trouble. I was a woman, Yeah, and I was staying in the diocese. So I had double trouble. And it wasn't acceptable to coach in the 80s and the 90s and all that stuff and sit on a bench and holler and direct where X's and O's go. Wasn't many of us back at those times. So most of the things I went to, they were people who just got out to die real early. And you can find, a color when it's just the only color that's there. It's real easy to pick out. And so there we were, sitting in the midst a lot of times of meetings. And I don't care what color men are, they all have these same perceptions sometimes. It doesn't change because you change colors. They all have, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't. They give you all kinds of names sometimes. It was hard, but I was saved. It was hard, but I was saved. And I think wherever I go and whatever I do, God is in the permissive will of things. Because there are some places I go, some things I do, I wouldn't do them on my own. That's how I know it's God. Yeah, that's how I know it's God. And so if you ask for what you want, and all I ever wanted to be was a teacher anyway. So don't let your environment and where you come from, young people and children, define who you are. Because once you know Jesus, the world is yours if you're willing to pay the price. His niece is my best friend. We are childhood friends. We went through all of the schools together. Grade school, high school, college, and we were roommates together. She's like me. She's a semi-retired doctor. Do you think back in the 80s and 90s that was easy for that girl to become a doctor? She used to call me a midnight. I said, girl, go ahead. It's going to be all right. You know God is in the permissive will of all of this stuff. And she worked for her at Emory Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Two little country girls from the cotton field. And yes, we driven Cadillacs too. And yes, we have a few diamonds from the cotton field. From the pump house carrying water back to the house to wash green. From the pot-belly stove with the beans cooking on the stove. And people ask, how old are you? Old enough to live between two generations and appreciate where I come from. Old enough to tell folks about our name. Old enough. We've all been given at least one talent. Now, if you sat on your talent, that's your business. And some people are given 2 or 3 or more talents. And it says it's in the book, because you look at Matthew 25 and 15, it's right there. It's going to tell you about 1 talent and go down back 2 and 3 and all of that. But we need to have that Isaiah spirit. Here am I, send me. And when you say, here am I, send me, can't nobody stop you from going. I tell folks I can move X's and O's just like a man can. It's just an X and an O. It's just offense and defense. And saved people play offense and defense all the time. We play defense against the devil and offense for Jesus. This ain't no hard job. You just got to know the rules of the book because it's in the book. I play by the same rules every other coach plays by. I know what the 3-point line is. I know that the goal is 15 feet and that's where you ought to be if you want to make 2 points. I know what the free throw line is for. Ain't nobody guarding you, so you ought to make 2 points every time. Nobody's guarding you. Yeah, so can't too much too hard about all of this. But you got to know it's in the book. And the woman was in it. It's in the book. When I told Lord, I tell him, be good to your girlfriend. So don't go to the dollar store and buy a piece of candy every time. Go to Walmart sometimes. Be good to your girlfriend. I tell them that. Be good to your mama. Treat your mama right. Treat your mama right. You don't have to say yes or no, but you ought to say a clear yes and a clear no. And you ought to hold your head up when you're talking to people. When they ask you your name, tell them your name like you love your name. So it has pluses and minuses, but it's in the book. And the woman was in it. And have an Isaiah spirit. I'm getting ready to close now, but if it's your song, you ought to sing it. And you ought to sing it so people understand what the words are. That you're not mumbling like you don't know. And not only that, if your story, you ought to tell it. And don't be, well, I don't know what to say. Well, then sit down if you don't know what to say. And you learn what to say. Yeah, but if it's your I thank him for my husband. I thank him for my husband. It's all right to say I'm happy. But the most thing you thank God is for salvation. The most you thank him for is for salvation. And if it's your prayer, you ought to pray. Because everybody can't say the Lord is my shepherd. It's got personal pronouns all the way through these prayers. And everybody ain't saved, so they can't say the Lord is my shepherd. And there's a reason I can say that the Lord is my shepherd. And then congratulations to all them ladies who got them flowers, because you could say the Lord is my shepherd. Because folks don't have to give you nothing. You can say the Lord is my shepherd. And look at the next part, say, and I shall. For nothing. Now, folks, you want a good husband, you better pray. The Lord is my shepherd. And then be patient enough to wait. Because the book says they that wait. Yeah. The Lord is my shepherd. And I shall not want. If you sick, all sickness is not unto death. Some sicknesses we can live with because the Lord is my shepherd. And let me hurry on to a close now. And the reason when I get down there, I think it's about verse number 6 where it says, surely. Y'all know what it says, no? Surely. Goodness. Ain't got no business being no low down woman. Ain't got no business being no trifling woman. Ain't got no business being no woman that don't know how to talk and walk and act and dress and present herself. Because ain't nothing following me but goodness. Surely goodness. I ought to be a good woman. I ought to be good at everything I'm doing because ain't nothing following me but goodness. Surely goodness. And then when I make a mistake, mercy cancels my mistake. Maybe somebody never read this book, but there are 66 books in this book. There's 39 in the Old Testament and 27 in the New Testament. And all the way through it, the woman is in the book. All the way through it. This book is the pilgrim staff. And a staff you can lean on the pilgrim staff. And not only that, for those of you who have a GPS, it's God's protection system. He will, the angels all night and all day, the angels keep watching. I got my own GPS system. And for those of you whose automobile might have OnStar in it, anybody know what I'm talking about? OnStar. Just push the button. And a woman or man is going to answer when you push the button. And then it said, tell me what you want on that system. And you just give them the address. And then, ain't that what God do? Tell them what you want. And just give them the address. And here's what it says. In a few minutes, madam, I'm sending you directions. And God will do it for you. That's what's in the book. And the woman was in the book. And the good part about this, I'm hurrying to a close now. And the good part about this was that in Psalms 139 and 14 says, I'll praise him, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Then it said, marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. I ain't worried about what kind of student hat you got on. That's your business. You paid for it. I ain't worried about if you can sing or speak or talk or whatever better than me. I ain't worried about none of that. Because God takes care of his own. And my suit ain't gonna look like your suit, and it can't fit, and I ain't worried about it when you look like twins. You still look different. In the book, I'm marvelous and fearfully made. I used to have a Coca-Cola bottle shape, but now I turned into a mirror. And so we got fearfully somebody else, and you love them too, and then you treat them like a dog, but it's never his wealth. They're breaking in and steal all this stuff I got on. They won't even know they think their name on it. But his wealth can never be stolen. Got him right here. Can nobody steal my evidence? Can nobody steal my joy? Yeah, you can steal that. Yeah, it's a resource. He got everything. He says, a count of 1,000 hills is mine. Just ask me for what you want, believe in it, I'm going to give it to you. Think about it. And then here's the last part, is resurrection or something. He's working on them 40 days now. That's how I know the victory can never be lost. All right. The victory was won. All right. The Lord was so bad that grieved couldn't move. He stayed on the cross for 3 days. Yeah, hung, bled, and died, and I might have a right to the tree of life. I'm not lost. I know that this world is not my home. I'm on my way, but here's the good thing about it. Like Reverend C.L. one day at the same church. Yeah. He went to the same one bench I did. I probably had a little better bench than he did. He probably had some splinters in it. By the time my sister and I got there, it was a good clean bench. But it was the same tradition. Just sat on, I got a mourner's bench religion like C.L. That's good religion and all the people. A country. Some of y'all got it because some of y'all from the country. Yeah, you have to sit there until you felt something. Yeah. And then the preacher will tell you if you believe. Give me your hand. Yeah. Yeah. You can come off there with your friend, y'all. Did not come off there the same day. Somebody don't go there. Somebody go there. And then you took that first walk a long time ago. Yeah.